That is a part of it that's interesting. Is that Houdini aspect of trying to make something that's, seemingly strange but impossible image become real.
And it was always the pitch in the carnival world. The pitch was as important as the stunt. What you would do to draw people in, the idea of it, was every bit as important of what went down.
Yeah, there's this Kafka story called The Hunger Artist, and in it there's this dime circus performer, and nobody watches him do his show. Nobody cares. So he puts himself in this cage, like an animal cage, and he says, "I'm not going to eat anymore." And all of a sudden, everybody starts to show up to see this dime circus performer, who's now drawing huge crowds, but he's disappearing. And by the end, everybody's looking in there, and they can't see him, but he's still in there.
Well, your stuff, it always seems to make a certain amount of people enraged, too. Have you noticed? Like, when you do a stunt, there's a segment of the community that's enraged about it.
Yeah, I think that's really funny. I think that's part of the fascination with it, is that, it's like I get that too sometimes. Like, I'll go to a museum and look at a piece of art and get really amped. I don't get it. Like,
yeah, right.
I understand that.
Yeah. The people who yell, "I could have just painted blue." Shit. You're like, then do it, dude. Just do it. Draw a crowd with it. David Blaine, Real or Magic premieres tomorrow night, Tuesday, November 19th, 9:30, 8:30 Central on ABC. First time in 15 years that you're back doing street magic. I'm glad you're doing this. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you next time coming in,
Thank
my
you
man.
for having me.
All right. Mike Kaka is sitting in here in HDG. All right, and he just did a trick on his way out. By the way, he was so kind about. He says no one ever asked me questions like that, which was cool to hear him go into that. But it has to do with reads. Now, the entire time that he was in here, I was watching to see how he matched me, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And just as he's leaving, he goes, "Let's do this thing." He shows me a deck of cards. He goes, "All right, examine the cards, these regular cards." Yeah. Did I cut the deck first before I said the name of the card?
No.
Okay, so he says, say the name of a card. I know I'm not to go to face cards. I'm not going to fucking make it easy for him. I go 5 of diamonds. He goes, cut the deck. I'm holding the deck. No one else is. No. He says, turn this card over. And he still hasn't touched the deck. I cut on my own accord, turned it over, 5 of diamonds. We got to figure out how he did that.
Yeah.
Now, let's fucking figure this out. Let's just figure this out. I have the deck.
Yeah.
Did I say 5 of diamonds before I cut the card?
No.
He told you to look at the deck quickly. And then he said, think of a card in your head, have nothing to do with what you saw or what you looked at. Just think of a card and say out loud what it was. And that's when you said 5 of diamonds.
Then he said, cut the deck to the best of your ability in the middle of the deck.
Yeah, as middle as you can.
And he even said, I'm not going to touch the deck. Flip over that card.
Yeah, and when you cut the deck, I guess you could see that the cut part wasn't it, so kind of feels like the trick didn't work.
I went and looked at the 10 of clubs, which was sitting there.
Right.
But no, I wasn't even doing that because I knew that the trick wasn't over. So he says, turn that card over.
Turn over the card that's on the top of your
and
other
it's the 5
hand.
of diamonds. Okay. So, how the hell could that happen? Because he didn't have the deck at all.
He wasn't touching it when you...
He never touched it since he handed it to me.
Yeah.
And he even said, you have to turn it. He doesn't want to touch the card. You have to turn it over.
I am a great magician.
Yeah.
Is the only way to deal with that. I am a fantastic magician.
Because if he said, cut the deck, then pick the card, which he didn't. He said, pick the card, then cut the deck. I'd say, all right, he knows exactly where the cards are. He saw the one side was the 10 that you had, and he knew the next one was the 5 of diamonds. But he made you pick the card before you cut the deck.
That was amazing.
How...
Is he a wizard?
There had to be something. Now, could he be eye-accessing me? Did I pick the card before I consciously picked the card?
When he before you called, he was just looking down the entire time. He was just like literally just looking down as he was taking the deck of cards out of his hand. I thought it was kind of odd, where he wasn't like making eye contact with you. He was literally just talking and looking down to the right.
But you had the deck the entire time after you said what card. You had the deck, and you picked the card. So how?
I was holding the deck when I said 5 of diamonds. I cut the deck, and then I turned over the next card, and there was a 5 of diamonds there. That's fucking impossible. Could he have a like a computerized card thing?
What would that do?
All right, Nick thinks he understands it. Nick.
Hey, Ronnie, what's up, man?
Yeah.
I do know how David just did that trick. He's in fact an alien.
Now, see, I really wanted to know.
That should be impossible.
All right, Hosp wants us to see if he remembered the guy with the ventriloquist dummy. I forgot. We always used to send Dave out as little David Blaine.
And the contest winners with Crazed, AJ Dynamite, and Spandy. That's when he was in Central Park, David Blaine.
I think David Blaine is one of the best close-up guys I've ever seen work. Ricky Jay is my just all-time favorite, though.
I can't believe it's been 15 years since Street Magic.
That weirds me out, too.
I thought that was in the 2000s. In this millennium.
Well, he did a couple of those in a row, right? Like, then he went to, like, third world countries and shit.
Yeah.
And that was just great because they thought voodoo was involved. But this was the beginning of the first time that we saw black people run down the street after seeing a car. Black people respond well to magic. Spanish people respond well to magic. I do want to figure out that card. Let's go to Tim. Tim, you're on the Run of Fez show.
Yeah, Ron, I had a trick that happened to me like 2 years ago. Now, if I explain it, I want to just hear if you guys can maybe figure this out for me. I had a magician pull out an imaginary deck out of his pocket, fanned it out. I picked the card out of the imaginary deck. I stuck it back in the imaginary deck. He closed the imaginary deck up, put it back in his pocket. Then pulled out a real deck of cards. Pulled the cards out, showed me it was a real deck, shuffled them, handed them to me. I cut them. He had me flip the card over on top, and it was my card. I have no idea how he did this, and I just wanted to hear if maybe you guys could figure it out for me.
No, this one completely weirds me out, too. Do you think a lot of these guys know every card that's in the deck? I mean, does your expertise have to go that far?
I think that...
That's what had me thinking... Did he eye-access me picking the card, but what good would that have done him anyway? I'm the one who cut the card. The only thing that could happen is if there's some trick that whatever I said, that card could turn into it. It's the only way this trick could work.
Yeah, that wouldn't have helped him at all.
Nothing would help him except for he would have to have some kind of trigger in his pocket to be able to make any deck... any card in there change, but he said examine the deck so it's a regular pack of cards.
Even if there was something like 99% of people choose the 5 of diamonds, you cut it. So you could have cut a card over.
Yeah, no one's going to choose the 5 of diamonds either. All right, let's go over to Lewis. Lewis, you're on the Run of Fez show.
Well, now that you said that he made you examine the cards, now that's going to make me rethink things. What I thought at first was that he somehow put the idea in your head to pick the 5 of diamonds, and he just has a bunch of different decks that have, this deck has the odds of picking the 5 of diamonds.
Okay. Here's a really fucking good point. This is a good point. He was fucking with me before we got in there. It's why I asked him about hypnosis and NLP, right? He shows me a regular deck of cards. Yeah. And somehow he's gotten it into my head that I picked the 5 of diamonds. By the way, I know for a fact I picked 5 of diamonds while I was looking at the deck.
Okay. You caught it and...
I saw the 5 of diamonds go by. I thought to myself, what a great card. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Okay. Did he... Now, if you remember, he works... Yeah. He points at his head the whole time that you're in discussion with him. Did he plant that in my head
Even if he did, then the deck would have to be set up in some way that it would have been impossible for you to cut it anywhere but that spot.
No, not if they were all 5 of diamonds.
But you saw them all. There weren't multiple.
He would have changed that deck. The deck he would have shown us would have changed, and I would have taken a different deck than the one he showed us.
Go back in time.
Yeah. No, but here's the thing: you're not going to be able to follow that. That's sleight of hand. So he would have had to do 2 things. He would have had to implant 5 of diamonds into my head, making me a fucking squawking monkey. You know what I mean? And he, the zookeeper. 2, he shows me a deck. And sleight of hand, I get the different deck that no matter where I would have cut it, 5 of diamonds would have came up.
Okay, but you know that when you cut it, the other card in your other hand was the 10 of something, not a 5 of diamonds.
You are
so
correct
it's not all 5s
that.
of diamonds in there.
We don't know that. We know that
There might be more than one.
We saw a 10 of club and a 5 of diamonds. We saw them both.
Right, and you had to be able to cut where you didn't come up with 2 5 of diamonds.
Here's the other part that fucks with being a deck like that. Any asshole guy might just go, I'm controlling the cards. So if it's all 5 of diamonds, any asshole guy could go, wait a minute, and look into the deck.
Did you see the 5 of diamonds or just call it out?
That's a very good question. Did I subconsciously see the 5 of diamonds? I believe that I did. Now, I could not swear to either in a court of law.
Because I think I may have some insight from the hallway. Because before he came in for the interview, he really loaded up on the Visine. And I'm wondering if there's some sort of Visine trick where he can use it as a mirror to see what you're looking at on a reflective surface.
Well, he was looking at all the cards. Let's get all the cards.
First of all, he was putting the Visine in because he was underwater for an hour today and chlorinated pool. 2, he doesn't need. He showed me the entire deck. There doesn't need to be the Visine.
Well, and he told you not to pick just based on what you saw. Pick out of your head, not on what you were looking at.
Here's Woody. You're on the Run of Fez show.
Hey, Ron. Did David see the 10 of clubs when you turned it over first? Because he may have said cut the cards, and when you turned that 10 of clubs, if it was your 5 of diamonds, you would have been freaked out then too. Or he saw it was the 10 of clubs and then told you turn the next card over.
No, because I'm the guy who cut the cards.
He had to pick the 5 of diamonds before he cut the cards.
And once he handed me the deck, he never did anything again and only asked me 2 things. 1, call out my card. 2, cut the deck.
But I see what the caller's saying. It's not the answer, but he is saying it gave him 2 shots for you to have that 5 of diamonds. Either when you cut it and he could have said, there's your card, but when he saw it wasn't there, that gave him a second shot that it was the next one.
That doesn't make sense because I looked at the clubs on my own.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have even done that. He said, check the cards, and I just turned the right deck.
Right.
Kind of being dickish. There was no reason for me to even do it. But mathematically, what you're talking about, the odds would be astronomical. That and that wasn't the game. I did pick before. So when people started thinking about even memorizing the cards, mathematically the odds have got to be phenomenal.
But he didn't shuffle the deck beforehand. He just fanned the deck.
Yes, and we don't know if that's the same deck that I got.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. How would he know that I'm going to pick 5 of diamonds, no matter what he does there?
Yeah, I don't see that helping him, even if he did have that whole deck memorized. That doesn't.
Now, here's what you have to remember to play this fucking game. He's thinking all the time. Every minute of the day, he's thinking about this thing. So it's, in a lot of ways, he's a good salesman. He's a good psychologist. He is reading me. I want to fucking figure out how he got me to pick 5 of diamonds, because that's the only way it could work.
When he was fanning the deck out for you, I mean, these guys play with your minds, so maybe he just stuttered ever so slightly on that 5 of diamonds when he showed it to you a little bit more than every other card, and got it in your head.
Now remember, consciously he said it doesn't even have to be a card that you've seen now.
Yeah.
Now but even if you buy that, Ronnie still had to cut the cards where the 5 ends up in that position.
But see, that's the thing. I'm more willing to believe that it's a gimmick deck, right?
Yeah, I believe
than I am that he put the word 5 of diamonds in my head. He obviously didn't do it in the 2 seconds he took to do the trick. Yeah. He would have had to done it during the interview. Mm-hmm. So we could go back during the interview. Now, also, why I brought up NLP to him is because I saw him go to his head a couple times. And I even called him on it. I go, I don't know whether you're fucking with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I see there's no reason to go back to some of the moves that he's done. He's fucking brilliant at this, though. Here's Jim in Iowa. You're on the Ron Fez show.
Hi. Hey, it was pretty amazing, even just listening to it. I saw Steve Martin do that same trick ages ago on Carson in the arrow through the head phase, and he got the card wrong. And so he said, well, wait a minute, I have an insurance policy in my pocket here that will tell me how I can collect because I got this wrong. And when he unfolded the insurance company, or the insurance policy, it was the right card, and Carson literally burst out laughing. It was just...
Well, all these card tricks are somewhat of a variation of each other. You know, they all follow into certain ways.
You have one skill set while manipulating cards or whatever, and then you just apply them in different presentations.
That's always a favorite to me when the magician makes you think they screwed up for a second, where you're like, you didn't get it, but then it's always
that's when
even
you're
more amazing.
Yeah, that's when you're absolutely screwed. Here's Dennis. Dennis, you're on the Ron Fez show.
Yeah, Ronnie, that deck is a gimmick deck. Every other card is the 5 of diamonds, and it's shaved so that when you fan it, the longer ones show one way, and when you fan it the other way, every other card is the 5 of diamonds. So when you cut it, the longer card stays in your hand, and the shorter card falls down.
So I'm willing to go for that. So why did I pick the 5 of diamonds?
Because he stopped longer on the 5 of diamonds, and your head will go to that card 99 times out of 100.
And yet I even thought of changing it. I sat there. Matter of fact, I did change from a face card to the 5 of diamonds.
See, I think it's more likely that he's planted it during the interview, like you said, because I picked the 9 of clubs. You know, I'm standing right behind you, watching the same thing, and I picked the 9 of clubs in my head. So the visual illusion alone wouldn't have made you pick that.
And you watched him fan the cards?
Yeah.
See, now, I watched him fan the cards. I don't remember what I picked, but I remember a red card more than another card.
I agree with that.
I absolutely remember a red card when he fanned it.
But I still picked the 9 of clubs.
Could he have seen that in his Visine, the reflection off the Visine?
He's using it as a mirror to read what's in your eyes.
Go get a bottle of Visine and load up, and we'll see if you can see things.
Takes years of practice.
After 30 minutes of sitting
here's
through
George, you're on the Ron Fez show.
Was that me?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, hey, man. Hey, buddy. All right. In his head, he positioned that card like he told you what to think. It's the same trick as in Now You See Me. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but in the beginning of that movie, the card guy fans out cards, and he pretty much tells you the card to pick, and then he flips it up in the air, and all of a sudden that card that you saw is on the building. I don't know if you saw that movie. But
yeah, I did see that movie.
He positioned that card so that it's going to stand out. It's not like a trick, or there's no slice in the card, or it's not like...
That's why I brought up hypnosis and NLP to him, that you're basically using seduction therapies to people.
That's it, yeah.
But here's what fucking annoys me. I'm looking out for seduction therapy. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't want to get wet for him. I want to make him fucking work for it. I want to get a box of chocolates.
But you
I don't want to just fucking leave.
You let him know that, so maybe he used it against you. I want to go listen to the interview again and see if I can find any places where he's putting that idea into your head.
Here's Ryan. Ryan, you're on the Ron Fest show.
That trick, do you ever see him do it where he has someone pick the card and then he'll throw it against the window and their card ends up on the other side of the window?
Yeah. So in that thing, he's forcing that card. He's forcing that card upon him. What we're all amazed, right?
Yeah.
Is that, you could look up and a plane goes by and it would say 5 of diamonds, right?
Yeah.
That's no different than the trick that he just did here, except for you go and add the extra shit. And then we're even more blown away because a fucking plane comes by with my card on it. We're just screaming, oh my God. Oh my God. And we were all acting like that to him too. Like we just lost any type of sensibility. We were, you're the greatest person who's ever lived. You're better than Jesus. Start a church. Start a church, David Blaine.
Take my money. Take it.
But see, in the Carney and Rube thing, you never mind being a Rube if it's fun. You know what I mean? If it's enjoyable. You have to give it up to a person that's really skilled at this. And imagine what if you would, instead of telling kids, study, whatever, you just said, look, learn 15 card tricks. You're going to meet people. Girls are going to fucking want to hang out and ask you questions.
Yeah.
You should force your kid into card tricks before you have them playing fucking football or something. Here's Craig. You're on the Ron Fez show.
Hey, Ron. So every single time you do a card trick, I guess you would pick a different card, right?
You would assume, yeah.
So if you pick the same card every time, that'd be a really tough trick to pull off.
It's interesting to see how you play it. Again, he's not a wizard. This is explainable stuff.
Yeah.
And then the fun part of it, like with any puzzle, is seeing if you can put it together. It still does not take away from the fact that he made us all into 5-year-olds within a heartbeat of fucking expecting it to happen.
Yeah. He still pulls it off and just blows it away.
He's got the weirdest presentation in history. He mumbles. He doesn't play to the back of the room.
No. It's kind of like oddly intimate when he was doing it.
It's very intimate.
Because he was up on you, maybe a couple inches away from you, and just like staring down, like he was going to whisper in your ear or something. It was really just seeing it fucking right here in front of me. That was nuts.
And that is the way he does it. He plays to each person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seduction is a part of it.
Another interesting thing is when you waved me and Mike over to come watch, there was a woman with him who was standing next to you, and she made sure to set it up to move us, acting like she was doing us a favor. Here, you guys come over here so you can see better. But she was also making sure that we were in the, not behind him, where it's not that we would see the wires or anything, but you're in a different vantage point, and it's going to work differently.
I think you're overthinking that one because I think that was just his PR. Now, the hot chick that he was with, I have no idea. But he has always gotten great women, too.
Oh, yeah. Since that's, yeah.
She was tall.
Yeah.
She was tall.
She was gorgeous, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You were sitting right next to her. Why don't you try to make your move? I don't know whether you like cupcakes. I kind of think he has
eyes in the back of his head, and he would have seen me do something.
And then you would have ended up, your hand starts withering as the day has gone on. I can't use my tongue anymore. Mike Kaka's in here. He's a magician himself. He came up with the Ron Bennington cupcake. Still the #1 seller in Chicago?
Still #1. Oh, yeah.
John in Philly, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hi, it's John. You're talking to me? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just calling about the card trick. It was driving me insane. Your methods were killing me. Do you want to know how it's done?
No!
Stop talking about this.
Well, but John, if you were a magician, wouldn't you like to know that we can't figure it out fast?
I am a magician, and I hate every minute of these explanations. They're killing me. So, please, stop.
Here's what I want you to do. Do I got an off the air phone here?
Yeah.
I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to go in the other room and figure out how the trick was done.
Okay, I'll tell you exactly how it's done.
All right, hold on. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to break now. We'll be right back. It's the Ron and Fez Show. David Blaine came in here earlier today, and you know you will be watching his special tomorrow night. By the way, why did you hand me this?
He said 13th when you.
Well, what was I trying to do to him at the time?
Oh.
So Joe from Philly, who's a magician, explained to me how to do the card trick that David Blaine did to me off air today. And I thought would be more fun would be, instead of explaining it, because I don't like to give away guys. So this is what some guys do for a living. As a matter of fact, David Mamet called up Ricky Jay. David Mamet is the great Chicago playwright, filmmaker, and he loves, street angles, guys, confidence men, ways to rip guys off. So he called up Ricky Jay and asked him how some of these things are done. And Ricky said, well, a lot of these rip-offs people make their living at. Why don't I just design one for you? I don't want to tell you how one is done. If someone's out there doing it, I'll just design one for you and you can do it in your movie. And that's how David Mamet, the great playwright, and Ricky Jay, the great magician and historian, became friends. And I thought, rather than explain the trick, here I could, with no magic training at all. Chris, you've never seen me do magic before.
Never.
Fez, you've known me for decades. Have you ever seen me do a magic trick?
Never.
Do you believe that I know how to do this one now? The one that we just learned minutes ago from David Blaine, that for us is so mind-blowing. Do you think it could be simple enough that Joe from Philly taught me how to do it in seconds? Now, what I'm going to do differently than David Blaine is I have the deck of cards here that we had David Blaine sign. By the way, this is a brilliant idea. To win a deck of cards signed by David Blaine is just, I think this would be a great Christmas present for a kid or whoever wants to try to win this as we come up. I'm going to hand you the deck, and Fez, I just want you to explain to the audience that deck is sealed.
That deck is completely sealed. There is a piece of tape with a spade on it that keeps the box completely sealed.
What is on it?
It says the U.S. Playing Card Company.
Okay, so don't even hand it back to me.
Okay.
This has been out of my hands for how long now, Fez?
For probably about 30, 45 seconds now.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to open up that deck of cards.
Okay.
And Chris, you can explain to the audience that I'm standing back.
Yeah, he's about 3 feet away from Fez, Ron is.
Yeah.
And now Fez is now opening up a brand new deck of cards. This thing was just bought and signed by Mr. David Blaine. And Fez is going through it.
Fez, try not to rip that deck since we're handing it out. We're giving it away.
We're all good. It is open.
Take the deck out and put the box over to the side. Make sure all the cards come out of the deck. Now, Fez, you're going to see, like, what do you call a card on the top? Would you take that off for me?
Uh-huh.
And explain to everybody what that is.
It's get in the game. It's find out about our new products.
All right, so
Bicycle
hold that
cards.
up so these guys can see this. And put that down to your left. What's the other one?
The other one is can't remember the rules, and it shows you how a
Put that
website.
down. Now, look through there to see if there's a joker or not.
Yes.
Please put the joker down. I don't want... Yeah, I don't think anybody has a problem with the fact that the joker should not go in this. I mean, you don't use this for poker.
No.
You don't have a joker for poker because you're not 5 years old.
Exactly.
All right, Fez, you remember... Were you here when David Blaine was setting it up?
No.
What he did was fan the cards, right?
Okay.
Now, when he fanned the cards, what Joe, the magician from Philly, explained to me that the number one card, which is the toughest to pick up, statistically least picked card, is the 7 of diamonds. The 7 of diamonds. Mike, what did I pick?
5 of diamonds.
5 of diamonds, which he told me is either third or fourth least statistical. So in my head, I believed I was really going out of my way not to pick a card. Ace of Spades and Queen of Hearts are statistically the ones that people pick the most. Fez, I know that you don't play a lot of cards.
Yeah.
So could you turn those over and just fan them out?
All right, fan them face up.
Fan them out, but fan them. Yeah. Nice there. Now, instead of touching it, I'm going to do something here. Let me come over and try to use your mic.
Okay.
With you. All right? And what I'm fanning more too, so, all right, I didn't even notice this. You still got the Joker in there.
Oh,
I asked you to take that out. Yes, there's two. Like the top card there was a Joker. See that?
Yeah.
That's a Joker. Now, the other thing, Fez, I'm going to need you to do, can you shuffle those cards? Because if you can see, they're all the hearts are in one, and all the clubs are in one, all the diamonds are in one, all the spades are in one.
All right.
So what I need you to do is shuffle.
It's because it's a brand new deck out of
It's
the
a
box.
brand new deck, yeah.
Yeah.
I need you to shuffle that deck.
All right.
But to do it in a timely fashion.
Yeah, I'm not a
remembering-
good shuffler. I've never been able to shuffle cards.
Okay.
I've never been able to do that, but I appreciate all the laughter in the room.
You're gonna have to do that a couple more times. Would you like one of the other people to shuffle for you?
I would appreciate it.
We really need a shuffle.
You could just shuffle.
All right, this.
I'll shuffle the cards.
This kind of fucks it up. But one of the things that Joe explained to me is that intelligent people are more likely to fall for a card trick because you're engaged in it. The toughest people to do a card trick for are drunks and children. And drunk children are just about impossible to... Now, I don't want you to hand it to me, Chris. Shuffle it one more time just so no one thinks that we're fucking around here.
Okay, one more time.
And what I might want to do, because Fez seemed like he was struggling with the fanning, right?
Yeah.
Take that card. I don't want to take it, Fez. 8 times these guys have tried to put the cards back in my head. I want you to fan it out now.
Okay.
So... you can see by the fact that there's 7 spades still in a row, we still had some difficulty shuffling. Give it back to Chris one more time and shuffle it just really good. Remember, this is a brand new deck.
All right.
Brand new deck. Just give it a couple more shuffles. Chris, you play a lot of cards?
At times, yes.
What's your game of choice?
7-card stud. I don't like hold'em.
There's no reason that you should. The game's been bypassed. Okay, hand it back to Fez now. Now, Fez, fan him out again.
All right.
Now, I am obviously going to do a style of seduction, but I want to do it without touching the cards, right? So now that they're over, Fez, keep them all out. I'm just going to wave my hand over it once and then back again. Hand that deck back to Chris. Now, I'm not asking you to put a card in your head yet. I don't want you to do that, right, Fez?
Right. All you do is wave your hand over it.
It is the Ron and Fez show, and I'm trying to do a card trick that I just learned moments ago from a caller. Let's give it back to Fez one more time. Now, Fez, do you have the card in your head?
Yes, I do.
Now, I want you, without telling me or anyone else, what that card is.
All right. Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anybody, right? Cut the cards now.
Okay.
Now, that's not what you do when you cut the card. You don't put it down on the ground. Just, Fez, you're putting it back together. I don't want you to do that. I want you to keep it in each hand.
Okay.
Okay? Now, head up like this. Say exactly what the card was.
2 of hearts.
2 of hearts.
Ow! Ow, my mustache!
And that whole thing was just, I don't know how to do the trick.
I thought you picked it up. You're a quick learner.
No.
Great trick.
Just yanked his mustache as hard as I could. That's all. That was the trick.
It's a great trick.
Yeah.
That's a real sleight of hand.
It is. It is. Did you notice?
Yeah, I was like, what? What's happening? That mustache is being pulled up.
So Joe did explain to me. I don't think that we were right about two things. It did have to do with Gimmick decks, seduction itself, which that part annoys me more than anything. That really bothers me.
They got inside your head just a little bit.
Particularly since I was watching for it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even think it was just a little bit. He had me pick a card. And I thought to myself, another card that was a face card, and then went, no, it would be better if I picked something weird, 5 of diamonds. Here's what bothers me about that. That was not my decision.
That's
David Blaine.
That's David Blaine. That's a fucking master.
And when you hear about other people busting David Blaine's balls or whatever, you know, some other magicians will do it. Because some of the stuff that he does is stunts, not magic. I could see getting, you know, bummed out with it. Why should a person stay awake 11 days in a row? But, well, I think he's using fake eyes and he sleeps behind them. You know what I mean? Like, people will say he's getting food into the thing. So did I fool you when I pulled Fez's mustache real hard?
You got me. I was.
You got me good.
Where, Fez?
Right on both sides of my lip.